Fullmetal Alchemist did it. They gave us an amazing ending, but mostly an amazing ending song. But mostly, what I gotta say is that's the reason why I love openings and endings for Fullmetal Alchemist and Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. So anyway, guys, I'm giving you my review of the Fullmetal Alchemist first movie, Conqueror of Shamballa. Basically, this movie starts off after the original Fullmetal Alchemist ends. And I'm talking about the 2003 Fullmetal Alchemist, if it's called 2003. But yeah, it starts off after the original Fullmetal Alchemist ends. And for those who don't know how it ends, how should I say this? Well, I remember a couple things after the original Fullmetal Alchemist ended. And the thing that I remember is after Ed used this technique for his alchemy or something, I believe that he probably transmutated himself or probably used human transmutation. I really forgot. But after that, it did bring Al back, and correct me if I'm wrong, but if I am wrong, I want you guys to correct me. But after after Ed used that move, I believe that, yeah, Al got his body back, but he did lose his memories though. And all I can remember left is Al said that he wanted to train with Izumi Curtis in order to get his brother Ed back, in order to, you know, go travel to the other world in order to get his brother back. And I have to say that seeing this movie, it completely describes it all, and I definitely want to buy this movie sometime. But let's get started with this review and summary. I already explained the summary, and the summary of this movie would basically be to stop this whole, like, the only thing that describes this movie would be Germany, Hitler, and all that stuff. They're making this movie way different, I could say. But I have to say that I'm glad they made a movie, like a Fullmetal Alchemist movie, that showed, you know, it showed Alphonse in his original body after that. And it just gives me complete nostalgia, right, guys? But seeing Alphonse in his original body and seeing him in Ed's costume, like, we all know Ed's costume that he wears during the very beginning of both Fullmetal Alchemist. You guys remember? It was his red cape, and I believe that he was wearing black inside after his cape. And that's what I like. And seeing Alphonse in Ed's costume, it brings me nostalgia. I mean, Alphonse, the next Fullmetal Alchemist, well, you can't really call him Fullmetal anymore because Ed doesn't have the automobile, but he still has the automobile. Yeah, he still does. Ed and Al has basically the his whole body is back, and I mean everything. And I like seeing Al in Ed's costume because it brings nostalgia when I remember their travels together during the original Fullmetal Alchemist and Brotherhood. So let's just say that Brotherhood ended a different way, but they're making this one do the same thing, and it's a little bit different because when did Al learn this technique to just use his soul and put it in another? And he put it in, and why do I see the suit of armor that Al had, like that Al had during the movie, like during the it's actually a bit crazy. So how should I say this? During the beginning of the movie, it did show a little bit of Ed and Al during their travels back then. It was a story that Ed told to Al, but not the Al we know. It's a different Al from the, you know, from the other world that Ed's in now, and it's like a different Al who's supposed to be his brother, but, you know, a bit different. And I believe it's during the past, well, not the past, but yeah, during their adventures together when looking for the Philosopher's Stone. It's a bit crazy seeing it from the beginning, seeing the movie, man. It was nostalgia, right, guys? But the whole thing that happened here is, you know, seeing Fuhrer King Bradley. That's another thing. Why did we see Fuhrer King Bradley? This was the opposite of the world that we all know. And Fuhrer King Bradley, or should I say, well, he's a different name now, but seeing him, he's good and bad. I mean, this one's over here is not a homunculus, and the one in, you know, the one in the other world we all know is a homunculi, and it's crazy, you know what I mean? I mean, so many things describe this. I mean, the craziest thing was why. Why did Izumi Curtis die? Just why? I mean, I know she was, you know, I know she was trying to bring back her child, but, you know, after those years, she started coughing up blood, more blood, and then she died. I mean, I can understand. I mean, one of her, like a lot of her organs were taken out, and that's basically why. I mean, could it be possible that in Brotherhood, Izumi Curtis is also dead too? I don't get it. Is it possible? I don't know. But it gives me this crazy thing. I mean, original Fullmetal Alchemist and Brotherhood. One ends with Ed in the other world, and still didn't get his body back, his arm and leg, and you know, with Al getting his whole body back but losing his memory. Brotherhood ends a different way, with Ed and Al getting their bodies back, you know, sacrificing their alchemy. That's another crazy thing. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about the movie. The movie was a bit crazy because we got Wrath, and we saw Wrath's death when he wanted to see his mother again. And I can't tell whether his mother was lust. I really forgot, but was it, like, it was probably different from lust. But I can tell that there were different homunculi during the original Fullmetal Alchemist than the ones in Brotherhood. And this movie was one of the craziest. We had Al once again, and you know, seeing Al and Ed just, you know, come back after that, work together once again, different world in this world. Not the Alphonse we don't know, the Al we all know. And it's been crazy seeing how Al was just, you know, he used this crazy technique is really amazing. I mean, seeing how Ed and Al, they're working together again, trying to, like, you know, fix the mess in this place. And the hardest part was seeing Al just transmute Wrath like that, along with Gluttony. You know, seeing how Wrath wants to see his mom again. But for the rest of it, we see Colonel Mustang, and if I can remember of Colonel Mustang why he has his eye like this, I believe Colonel Mustang was in battle with, was it probably Salim that he was in battle with, or not? I really forgot. But because of that, his first eye was cut, and you know, he lost his eyesight for the first one. And you know, his eye, his half eye was messed up like that, but luckily he can still see. Brotherhood was a different story though. But for the rest of it, Ed takes on Eckhart, which is the woman who's, you know, how should I say this, the mastermind behind all this, and she's trying to just end everything with all these wars and all that stuff, but she's doing it the evil way. So basically what I see is Alphonse using that amazing alchemy technique again. And it looks like Al has been training so hard with Izumi, you know, back then when Ed was in this world. It was actually really crazy. I mean, the characters just meeting back up together again, the cast of the characters meeting together again in this world. How was it possible? We already saw how it was possible, but it actually worked. Hiromu Arakawa, I swear, man, you know what you're doing. But man, that was real crazy. Love this movie a lot. I can remember a lot of things in this movie, but I was too nostalgic watching the movie that it's hard for me to explain, so I hope you guys don't blame me. But I really like this Fullmetal Alchemist movie, and you know, seeing how they have this movie and the second movie, because this first movie is different from the second movie, because this one is during the original Fullmetal Alchemist after the anime for the original ended, and the second one is supposed to be Brotherhood, which is during Brotherhood, which is still during the part where they have to search for the Philosopher's Stone. So it's a bit different, if you ask me. But I really like this movie right here because I like seeing Alphonse in Ed's costume. I can't stop talking about that and how he learned this amazing technique. And you know, he got his memories back. And he got a lot of his memories back when he entered this world for the first time, and that was even more crazy. He got his memories back. I mean, I just love every minute of this movie, and the saddest part was seeing Ed just part ways with Al, but until Al was in the suit of armor, and then saying he stayed in there while they cut the rope and all that stuff. So both of them after that just remained the same for this movie. But the craziest things was Izumi Curtis dying, Wrath dying, Gluttony dying once again. Crazy. Real crazy. Well, Wrath didn't die for a second time though. But Hohenheim though, I remember seeing Hohenheim in the original Fullmetal Alchemist and how he was such a nice dude instead of a jerk in the Brotherhood version. So that was even more crazy. And seeing how Hohenheim just admit what he did over these years and like admit if he had been a better father. And I actually feel bad for Hohenheim a bit, especially when I saw his death in Brotherhood. And then seeing him gone like that was even the craziest part. But with all that, Al chose to stay in this world with Ed so that they can continue their journey. They're not searching for the Philosopher's Stone anymore. What they're doing is probably finding another way to get back home to see Winry maybe. But I know one thing, this movie ended really amazing, and that is my review of Fullmetal Alchemist, the movie 1, Conqueror of Shamballa. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. True Swordsman out. And I gotta say, I love the ending of this movie, dude.